go to super chats very, very soon in the show. But how about Arsenal, Dio? You play Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich got battered. Not battered. They lost 3-2, but they got beat by a minnow. So I'm going to call it a battering. They've been battered in the league. They got knocked out of the. Is it pronounced Pokal, right?
The DFP Pokal, yeah.
The DFP Pokal, yeah.
They're knocked out of the Pokal by a minnow. They're having, and I'm not sure if it's too cool. I mean, part of me wants to say it's Harry Kane. I want to say that Harry Kane has bought. You know, they sometimes say things like, you know, you go on holiday and you bring the rain with you if you're English. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like Harry Kane has brought Tottenham to Bayern Munich. I think he's brought that curse with him, because imagine going to a club where you're guaranteed trophies, and not only in your first season there you don't win a trophy, but you literally get embarrassed in every single tournament. And I'm not saying going out to Arsenal would be overly embarrassing, but at the start of the season, if you'd have said this is a quarterfinal, most people would have said Bayern Munich to win. But how do you see it going, Dio? First leg at the Emirates. No fans for Bayern Munich either for this game. They cannot bring fans in. How do you see the game going?
It's going to be a tough game. It's still Bayern Munich, regardless of what you say. And I always tell people that your league form does not translate to a knockout competition. It's a totally different ball game. And so, yeah, definitely it's going to be a very, very tough one. But it's at the Emirates, no fans. Those are little additions that would be helpful for Arsenal to capitalize on, for our fans to be the 12th man and just really, be loud and raucous and just put some fear in them. I know they've been there before and they know how to do it. Tuchel has won the Champions League before, so he's not a newbie to this. It's going to be a tough one, but I think with Arsenal having one of the best defenses in Europe, leaning on our defense and trying to use our home advantage to score at least a goal or two, we might need to try and score more than that if we can, because we're going to the Allianz Arena after that. And that place, you might as well be going into, brimstone and fire. Like, if you might as well just be going into brimstone and fire, literally. Like, just go tread on brimstone and fire and know that those are your options. Like, that's what we're going to. So whatever we need to do, it's going to be a tough game, but I still see Arsenal nicking the first leg. Over two legs, I back us to be able to win one of those two legs. How much we'll win by, I can't say. Because when we look at the head-to-head with Bayern, of course, the last time it was a disgraceful one where they beat us 10-2 aggregate. But if we look at the head-to-head, they've beat us 6 times, we've beat them 4 times. In our history of head-to-head, we've drawn twice with them. So we're not that far off from Bayern head-to-head numbers. I mean, of course, when we're talking quality, there's big quality differences in both teams. Bayern has amazing players, experienced players who have done it, been there, done it, and they know how to do it again. But if we look at just the head-to-heads, it's not like we've played them 12 times and they've beat us 10 and we've only drawn twice. You know what I'm saying? So in the past, we have had our fair share of winning against Bayern. I think if we can reenact that at home, it'll be good for us. And then in the second leg, we'll see. I'm just happy to be here this time around in the Champions League. Arteta's first time in the Champions League. His first time as a coach his first time as a manager, under 5 years as a professional manager. First time in the Champions League, quarterfinal, and has challenged for the title twice. That's an impressive resume for a manager who's 5 years on the job. Going to be 5 years on the job, to be fair. He's not even 5 yet. So, yeah, I think we can do the business at home.
If you don't beat Bayern, you should be very disappointed.
Yeah, no. I agree.
No.
You can say no.
I think I watch.
Hold on, David, you can assume that I should be disappointed. As a fan, I would be disappointed, right? But as Dio, my expectations for the team, and now that we're there, I can only back them to do better. My expectation for this team was to get to the quarterfinal of the Champions League this season and win the Premiership. The Premiership is a different ball game. If we're talking that one, I have chest. I can go there.
Food for thought on this. The bookmakers have Arsenal as the second favourites now to win the Champions League.
I'm telling you.
Well,
that's because they have that's because they have Man City as the favourites to beat Real Madrid. So therefore, Madrid drop down. If City are likely to knock you out, you can't then be the second favourites to win the tournament. They drop to third. So Arsenal currently sit second favourites to win Champions League. Bayern Munich have dropped down to fifth favourites because of how bad they've been this season.
I'm telling all Arsenal fans right now, if you do not beat Bayern Munich, you should be embarrassed.
True.
Flat out. I don't care. I watched them guys. They are not it. I'm telling you, they are not it. They played my Dortmund a couple of weeks ago. They were terrible. And Dortmund are, God, they are.
David. At what point do you say your league form doesn't translate to a knockout tournament? At what point does that come? You won the Champions League when you were 8th position. Or what position were you guys? So your league form. Hold on.
Did we not finish 3rd that year or 4th? I can't remember.
No, whatever. Like you didn't like. So what I'm saying
is
when
we won it the first time, we were 6th.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So my point is, your league form did not the UCL for you. You translated better in the UCL than you did in the league. So that's what I'm saying. That just because we're playing, hold on.
No, I hear your point.
Just because Bayern is playing poorly in their league doesn't translate the same way when it comes to Champions League knockout. That's all I'm saying. So when you say things like, "Oh, if Arsenal does not beat Bayern in the Champions League, they should be ashamed," I'm like, you have to realize that those two things don't tally. The Champions League is a different beast. It's a different.
No. I'm
not. I don't understand how an experienced team in the Champions League, and we're an inexperienced team in the Champions League. I know we've gone through Porto and we beat these certain other teams, and everybody told me this is no. Hold on, David, because this is what everybody told me. Everybody told me, "Oh, look at these guys, Europa League group. They've got a Europa League group. They've been gifted right now to get into the round of 16. They said the round of 16, oh my God, here it is where Arsenal bottle it. We managed to get over, be it penalties. Yes, I give you that. We still got through it. We still managed to do the penalties. We still managed to progress to the next round. Now I'm coming up against Bayern Munich. Yes, in the league, they are awful. But in the Champions League, this is their last trophy. Please do not think that these guys are going to come in and drop a shit performance like that, bro. They're going to be throwing every single thing they have at this Champions League, because this is the trophy that if they go trophy this, Bayern fans are crazy. I've met Bayern fans. They're crazy.
Sard, I get you. I want to go to Paddy on this. They've not been very good this year, Paddy. I mean, I know that they've only lost one game and drawn one game, but United scored 3 away from home. They struggled to beat us on the final group game. They struggled away. They lost away against Lazio. Do you agree with David? Is this one that Arsenal should be winning, in your opinion?
I can hear both sides of it. I think, like with Sad, the best team doesn't always win the Champions League. Like the year Liverpool won it in 2005, we were by far not the best team. The years Chelsea have won it, they weren't the best team. So I think it doesn't always work as simple as that in the Champions League, because there's a lot of added aspects, especially clubs with European heritage, such as Bayern, against an Arsenal side who have 0 Champions League heritage, in all fairness. But I do think Arsenal should be looking to win. Like, I know it's their first season back, but ultimately they are a far better side than Bayern Munich, and they should be beating them. They shouldn't even look to be penetrated at the Emirates. I reckon they'll beat them fairly easy. And listen, going to the Allianz, no matter the occasion or the side, is always going to be difficult. But I do think Arsenal have enough to get the job done. I wouldn't say it would be embarrassing, though, to lose to Bayern Munich over 2 legs in Champions League. I think it would be disappointing for Arsenal, especially if they don't win the league. But I wouldn't say it's embarrassing. But they should be looking to win. It would be very disappointing from Arsenal if they didn't go and beat Bayern over 2 legs.
Disappointing is the right word. Disappointing is the right word.
Bayern Munich they've got Sven Ulreich in goal. Most of you can't even spell Ulreich. They've got Upamecano. That man is a bag of issues. He's just dreadful. They can't even play Kimmich in his best position, and he's their best player, apart from Harry Kane. The only thing you have to worry about is Harry Kane. But if you've got the best defense in Europe and blah, 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 as loads of your fans are saying, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you off the David.
Stop. You want to lay your agenda so that if Arsenal does not win, you can.
I'm not laying my agenda.
Pause. Because when Dynamo Kiev showed up years ago, out of the blue from nowhere, and qualified for Champions League, they were nothing in their country, and they came and they won it. So your league form does not translate. Bayern can be playing the most horrible football of their entire history in the last 20 years and come to the Champions League and show up and show out. So don't sit there and talk about a team that has done it multiple times and then tell the team who has never done it that just because you are playing well, if you go there and you don't win, it's a disgrace. It might be disappointing because you stand the chance to be able to win against them. It might be disappointing if you don't take your chances when you get the opportunity. But to sit there and say it's a disgrace is not beating Sheffield. with 1 billion players. That's a disgrace. That's
Yeah,
what
but I agree that's a disgrace.
yeah, there's a big difference. We're talking about Bayern here.
I'm saying here, right? Normally, when teams do well in the Champions League, when they don't do well, normally there's a good vibe around the club. Like there's at least something's like, you know, they've got a Kante who runs around the field, or Steven Gerrard, oh, we can believe in him, or whatever, and blah blah blah. Yeah, that Bayern Munich team, they're in disarray. Their manager's gone at the end of the season. The board's gone at the end of the season. Apparently their favorite to bring back a manager is the manager who they sacked to bring in the new guy who they brought in now, who they want gone. You probably didn't even understand what I just said because it was just words. Like they're just it's lost.
David, I follow Bayern and I know the whole story about the owners who messed it up and the new guy and Tuchel who they want out because most of them are hoping that Nagelsmann finishes the Euros and they can get Nagelsmann back because that's who they really want, who should be at the job. I know all of that about Bayern. I can give you. I went head to head with the Bayern fan yesterday. We did a whole breakdown. We did a whole complete 11. So I know the team that we are going to face. Regardless of what you say, again, I'm going to reiterate it. You can think that, because Arsenal is doing well in the league and because we are strong defensively and all that, that we are going to go into the Champions League and that form will actually appear there. No, the Champions League is a knockout tournament. Bayern know how to play that tournament. They can play off and on game where they just keep tackling, kicking the ball out, and frustrate Arsenal's flow for the first half. And in the second half, turn it up, score one goal, go back and wait for us at the Allianz Arena. It's not impossible. That's why knockout tournaments are hard. You know, you of all people know this best. Chelsea was not in their best form when they won a couple of your Champions League, but somehow, some way, you got in there, frustrated teams, and you won. So let's not pay that.
Boys, I think it's a great debate. I'm going to leave it to the viewers to have their say on this.
I want to say one quick thing, Terry, before you do the super chats.
Yeah, go on.
All I was going to say is if Bayern have got sort of any sense they're going to play the low block, because that's exactly what Porto did, and Arsenal struggled like mad to break you down. So if they play a low block and can get away with a 0-0 or a 1 goal to take you then over to their place with Kane, who's firing on all cylinders, and they have got a good team. I don't care what David says. This is Bayern Munich; they're a good side, and if you go to their place, it's going to be difficult. So I think Tuchel will do a low block against you, and we'll see. That's all I was going to say.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
I've been to the Allianz a couple times, and I've genuinely, that place is scary. That place is huge.
It certainly is. First super chat here says, Dio, I saw that show. That Bayern Munich fan was so arrogant, is what AMT says. Arsenal fan, agree with David. Bayern Munich aren't playing like a connected team. They couldn't even acknowledge their away fans at their last loss. No spirit. Interesting. Why is little Yachty chatting so much breeze? Bayern. Who's little Yachty? I've got to Google
that. David.
He's a rapper.
David looks like a rapper.
Whoa, he's a rapper with dreads.
I hold that David all lie. I can't lie.
If I look like your Yachty,
it was a tiny dunk. It was a tiny dunk.
He's rich. He's rich. I'll take it.
Yeah, I assumed it was a rapper, but I never heard of him. I'm old though. Terry, why do you think Pep only spent a short time at Barcelona compared to City? I think managing Barcelona for Pep is a very different emotional experience to managing Manchester City. Very intense. I think the rivalry that he had with Jose took a hell of a lot out of him. And there's one big thing that's been missing from him, his and Klopp's thing. There's been no mind games. There's been no needle. And I do miss that. I hope we get a manager soon that starts sticking it to rival managers and creates a few problems and stuff like that. So I think that's what it was down to personally. You guys have only won 3 out of 12 games. They have won 7.
Who's you guys?
I don't know. Who's only won 3? Are you saying Bayern have only won 3 of the last 12 games? It can't be about Arsenal, can it? It's impossible.
It's probably about Bayern. They've not been in a
wow. Says the guy who drew with Sheffield United. What a joke.
Cook that freak.
I know that else you're bad. I'm the only one.